control yourselves. Good evening, everyone. Well, the Northeast is experiencing record-breaking temperatures. It's so hot in D.C., when they say drain the swamp, they're talking about Jerry Nadler's pants. Tragedy struck the Kimmel Show. Apparently, one of Jimmy's guest hosts ate another guest host. With one producer saying, "I knew we shouldn't have booked Rosie O'Donnell and Jelly Roll." The lead singer of the Village People has died at the age of 74. Whatever you do, do not play YMCA at the funeral while they're carrying out the casket. Because, you know, they'll
drop it.
They'll drop it. What's wrong with you people?
No, that one needed an explanation.
Did it?
Yeah,
Damn.
I got it right away.
Thanks. There's a new app where you can rent a dog for an hour, causing ABC to wonder, why are we paying $20 million for hours? Oh, wow. Travis Kelce was spotted running in New York City, but don't worry, he was tackled and the wedding will proceed as planned. Florida woman claims nearly 4 grams of cocaine in her butt were placed there by someone else. Well, that explains why I've been snorting my suppositories. But 4 grams of coke up your rear? Apparently, cops got suspicious when her butthole wouldn't shut up. A woman fell 1,500 feet down icy terrain on Mount Shasta, but appeared to only suffer a broken ankle. And no one was more surprised than the husband who pushed her. He thought it was the perfect crime. A new poll claims that 67% of residents say they have achieved or nearly accomplished the American dream. Wow, it's hard to believe that so many people have banged Peter Dinklage. And finally, a mysterious parasite in the U.S. is causing many people to suffer from explosive diarrhea. So if you're planning a trip to Hershey Park, that's not a chocolate river. All right. Delicious water. So you've heard of Khanna, the hard left lib who prides himself on demonizing the wealthy. So, Ro, are we in a new Gilded Age?
We are in a new Gilded Age. 19 billionaires. Think about this. 19 billionaires hold $3.4 trillion of our economy. I'm tired of the party abandoning working and middle-class Americans. It means a tax on billionaires and trillionaires who are hoarding wealth.
As we approach the 250th year anniversary of this country, let me just say this. We didn't fight a revolution to be ruled by tech billionaires.
That is true, Ro. Tech billionaires didn't exist back then, you bonehead. And he says wealth hoarding is a massive problem, as if net worth is a pallet of ding-dongs Michael Moore keeps under his bed. Khanna teamed up with Bernie Sanders to push for a 5% wealth tax on billionaires, among other grifts that take money from earners, which is kind of interesting because he's also filthy rich. But unlike those he targets, he didn't earn any of it. Ro's family assets are worth up to $340 million. Emphasis on family. All this money came from his father-in-law, who owns a company called TransStar. And no, it's an auto parts supplier, not an all-star in the WNBA. So when Khanna says he's anti-rich, he's full of more than the streets of Pamplona. The only time he fights the rich is when he asks his wife to raise his allowance. So how does he protect his wealth? Trust, hedge funds, and the same shenanigans he says are evil when you use them. But it gets even more hilarious. His 2 kids, both under 10 years old, have big stakes in a $65 billion wealth firm and hedge fund. Think about that. While your kids are learning ABCs, his kids are evading the SEC. Even more insane, Ro's brats are part owners of 3 golf courses. How is this even possible? When I was 10, I couldn't even get a job at the range as a ball washer. And at the golf course. But I don't know. But don't worry, Roe only goes after billionaires. But that's only because he's not one yet. He has a modest $6 million mansion filled with marble counters and an in-home elevator. What a hypocrite. Can't he order a servant to carry him up the stairs like I do? But maybe it's impossible to take the stairs when your wallet weighs 100 pounds. His wife rolls around in a $190,000 Range Rover, a car so high-tech, even a chick can drive it. It's a compliment.
Like you haven't seen this show before?
But wait, isn't this the same Roe who pushed to ban members of Congress from trading stocks because it, quote, erodes public trust? Yet his family trusts racked up over 4,100 trades worth $53 million last year, making him one of the top stock traders in Congress. He makes Pelosi look like an old hag playing nickel slots. So now you can see why Roe expressed visceral anger towards economic inequality. It's all deflection. Hundreds of millions in cash, investments, assets, 3 golf courses, not 1 or 2, but 3. Oh, think of the amount of space that takes up, which, you know, could go for affordable housing. Or the amount of water they use that could power wash the chairs at the View. But that's not the infuriating part. I don't care how wealthy he is, but he cares how wealthy you are. And he seems to relish attacking people who built their wealth from the ground up, which he didn't do. He didn't scrape by with a second job, skip meals, or lose sleep over rent like the working families he claims to fight for. He lectures Elon Musk, who doesn't even own a house, but instead built SpaceX, Tesla, and multiple companies advancing humanity, while Roe's fortune was handed to him by his wife's dad. So Elon got rich by saying, let's go. Roe got rich by saying, I do. If I were Roe, I'd hate Elon too. Let's welcome tonight's guest. As a baby, his first words were, here's the problem. Comedian and host of the Adam Carolla Show, Adam Carolla. He's still using Osama bin Laden's Netflix password. Former SEAL Team 6 operator Rob O'Neill. Her exes watch this show every night in the prison rec room. New York Times bestselling author and Fox News contributor Kat Tiff. And is that an old lady in your pocket, or are you just happy to see me? Former NWA World Champion, host of the Planet Tyrant podcast, Tyrant. He's a Californian, right? Ro Khanna.
Ro Khanna Jabba. I think that's his new name.
Yeah. What do you make? He must have realized that this stuff would come out at some point.
I have no idea, because these guys, Gavin Newsom's the same way. Like all the guys from California seem to have no shame whatsoever. They're basically like a gay Baptist preacher who hasn't come out of the closet and is going to preach fire and brimstone about a man laying down with another man. Meanwhile, they're in a stall at a bathroom in Minneapolis at an airport doing a foot tap, you know? And also, I don't know what his job is. Like, every time I turn on the TV or pick up my phone, like, oh, he's on Steve-O's podcast today. It's like, will you go to your office and do your damn job? Like, what are you doing? And then also, thank you, one person out there. We got a libertarian here. You know, it's interesting because they're always talking, I mean, they were talking about millionaires, but now they're millionaires, so they're talking about billionaires.
Yeah.
But if you really think about life, the chasm between them and Elon is not nearly what the chasm between a truck driver and them are, right? So if you think about a lifestyle, they're going out to dinner every night and ordering lobster, and they're like, Elon can eat 18,000 lobsters.
Yes.
Right, but the truck driver's eating a Hot Pocket because he can get 0 lobsters. So the real chasm is between them and the middle class, not them and Elon.
Yeah, it's like, it's class warfare.
Hold on, they're plotting.
Rob, it is true. It's like, it's class warfare between the rich, but people who are richer. And it's like a practice of envy.
You notice they said trillionaires now. They throw that in there, the multimillionaires, billionaires, and trillionaires. And I love how they say he's the busiest stock trader in Congress. That's like being the solo fluffer on a Bonnie Blue, you know, the 1,000-man Hoosier shipmate game. But
our audience has no idea what you're talking about. And you know what?
I can't wait for them to look it up.
Yes.
But I mean, the way that they make it so boring, even when they investigate, that nobody pays attention. And then, like a congressman will be sitting in a classified brief about how the supply chain is running out, and then 3 days later, his wife buys a bunch of put options. Wow, you're a genius with this, and you see that all the time. And they're do as I say, not as I do, and no one really pays attention to him anyway. And it's just the typical stuff. That's just what they're doing.
Yeah, and he focuses, Kat, on people who he paints Elon Musk as a villain who's broken no laws and actually does a lot of great stuff for humanity. Meanwhile, this guy just walked into money.
Yeah, absolutely. And he should know, because he works for the government, that he's actually allowed to give them more money if he wants to.
Right.
There's nothing stopping him from doing that. But he is so careful. He talks so much about billionaires, 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 billionaires. And he's not just a millionaire, potentially hundreds of millions of dollars. That's like a guy who's just nonstop performative, like, oh, how dare that guy cheated on his pregnant wife because he waited till after she gave birth to cheat on her.
Yeah.
It's different degrees of the same thing.
Well, that is different.
Okay.
And, you know, what we talk about in the green room shouldn't be talked about out here. But
You brought it up.
this reminds me. Why? Okay. So he's worth this money, right? There's a reason why the kids are in charge of these things, right? Because then it's
Can't
like,
take it away from the kids.
yeah, right? Is that what it? I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't
mean,
know.
He
listen,
also
but that-
talks a lot about oligarchs, and it's like, you are
Oligarchs?
one. You are, like, when he talks about oligarchs, sorry. When he talks about oligarchs.
I actually like oligarchs better.
I like oligarchs
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. What? The woke change words all the time. We can't change one?
Oligarchs. It's a great word.
Yeah.
I thought it was something else.
You know, but that's not, putting stuff in your kid's name is not a rich guy thing.
Yeah.
It's not. Like, when I was 7, I owned a Land Cruiser and had an electric bill I forgot to pay.
You know, Greg, I heard that, speaking of family stuff, that if you bury a family member in your yard, you don't have to pay property tax because it's a cemetery. Yeah, you can't read that. I've heard that. It could be one of those rabbit holes, but I asked my dad to donate me a leg. Come on, Dad. Property tax, baby. You're a cheapskate.
I'm going to use that as a
No, I mean, I got to look that up.
Yeah.
That was randomly weird.
Well, no, we're talking about family stuff. Anyway, people are trying to save money using their family. Who doesn't buy their kids 3 golf courses, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they take it from him.
Yeah.
They just do it now to hide for whatever because he doesn't want to pay taxes. That's why you do it.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
You hide everything so you don't want to pay taxes. And the reason why they're saying trillionaire and billionaire is because Eli was a trillionaire for like a day, and then he had a bad tax day. He dropped down to a billionaire. So they want to make sure wherever he's at, they got him covered.
Right.
But it's laughable because you have every one of them that are socialists and progressives all own multiple homes. They're $100 million, and they constantly go after everybody when just by definition, you shouldn't have any of those things. You should be parsing those mansions up for all the immigrants that need places to stay, illegal immigrants, sorry, need places to stay. You should be, the golf course should be a parking lot and tents for the homeless. I mean, why does it have to be in our cities when you have all this extra money?
Free golf courses.
Yeah, they could be homeless courses.
Yes. All those little holes could be potties. All right.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.